Hi, I'm Kyle from Serendipity, and today we're going to be doing some coding. So, let's get started. So, how the game of Pong works is you have two players, one shown in red here, one shown in blue. And how it's going to work is this ball, which is automatically programmed, will be bouncing from side to side. It can't pass through these paddles, which are moving right now, but if it touches the opposite color, it scores a point for that color. So you can see blue here is going to bounce and end up touching its color right over here. Then if it touches red, it'll score. Great. So now if we're trying to move to the right, whenever we click the right arrow, we should be able to move this Pong paddle to the right. So how are we going to do that? So remember, right is always going to be positive, and we're going to be moving to the right. So something over here reminds me of moving to the right. Move 10 steps. So we're going to be moving a positive amount. So for this first one, I want you to just copy this. And when we click play, that's how we always test our code. Whenever we click the right, you can see that it's glowing first on the yellow over here. And also, it also moves the paddle, which is over here. But now, someone's going to score on us. How do we move to the left? So we're going to stop the program over here. The opposite of our right hand is always going to be the left hand. So the opposite of 10 is going to be, pause the video and tell me, it's going to be negative 10. So we're going to be moving negative 10. There we go. So now whenever we move, you can see that if we want to move right, then we move this way. We can also move left, which is reflected by the movement of the keyboard, and you can tell that it's blinking whenever I move it as well. Awesome. So now let's get into player 2. So player 2 is the exact same thing. First thing we're going to do is A is on the left side, D is on the right side. So you guys can tell that if you look at your keyboard, the A is next to your left hand, D is next to your right hand. So what we're going to do is whenever we want to go to the right side, which is D, we're going to move 10 steps. And now you can see that whenever I click D, this blue paddle moves to the right, which is over here. Now, how do we get to the right? How do we get back to the left? What we're going to do instead is, remember that instead of moving 10 steps, we're going to move an opposite of 10 steps, because opposite of right is left, opposite of 10 is going to be negative 10. Great. So now you can see that we can move to the left, and we can move to the right. So now that we got our Pong ready to be played, you can see that when I move these, we got them moving and bouncing. Everything's working just right. Let's figure out how we get our score. So you can see right now that if the ball touches the red side at all, we should give a point to red because this is the red goal. Over here, if it touches the blue side, it should be a blue goal. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to go to where it says variables over here on the left, and we're going to change something by 1. So this is really important. If red scores, we should give red a score. So what we're going to do is we're going to change and give player 1 a score. So now you can see that if the ball touches the red side, you'll see that right over here that the player 1 score gets a number. So let's try this again. If we want player 2 score to increase by 1 when the ball reaches to the blue side, how do we do that? Go ahead and pause the video and I want you to try. If you said change and player 2 score, you're correct. So now we can see what happens if we move this red paddle and you see that the ball touches the blue. We see that player 2 also gets a score, as shown by over here. Oops. So let's restart and let's figure out how to say a good job. So if anyone scores, you would always say good job to the person that scores. And we're going to have our referee over here do the same. So we're going to go into looks, and under here we're going to say hello for 2 seconds. So, let's see what happens. If player 1 scores, then we can see that the referee will say hello. But is it right to say hello, or should we say something like, good job to player 1, because player 1 scored? So when player 1 scores, remember that this means player 1 scored, we're going to say, good job, player 1. Now, I want you to pause the video and tell me what you think should happen if player 2 scores now. So go ahead, pause the video. If you said, good job, player 2, you are correct. So you can see now that when player 2 scores, that the referee will say good job to player 1 and player 2, and we get the fully updated scores over there. So, now you can enjoy your game, playing with your left and right paddles, and we can also get our score so you can tell who's winning and who just scored a point. So, we hope you had fun today, and can't wait to see you next time.